Well, good evening, my dear viewer. What a sight! A resplendent full moon and the Sheraton symbol, and of course, yours truly, your humble narrator, being an avid filmer, cannot help but share this glorious panorama with yourself, my dear viewer. So, I'm basically in Hamilton. I've never really been to Hamilton before. Judith and I visited the town once on our way back from Niagara Falls, and it's got a beautiful little lake and it's beautiful iron bridge spanning it, and nice green hills, and a park and a beach by the water. And so we hung out there that afternoon. It must have been like 5 years ago, August of 2010, and well, I'm back here, totally unexpected. I mean, it's one of the joys of security. So with security, you have essentially your company. So in my case, it's IntelliGuard. I don't mind representing IntelliGuard. Now, they've told me I shouldn't put anything on the internet, but I'm not going to put anything bad on the internet. How about that? And I hope like my good faith is and my good intention and my good faith is a worthwhile endeavor of sorts, if that makes any sense. So with security, you've got the head office. So IntelliGuard's head office is in Toronto, and then they've got like 180 sites, either in Toronto or around the country. And so basically, there's 2 degrees of separation in a sense. You interview at the head office, and then they get the job. You get hired on, right? You might get a uniform. But then you have to talk to scheduling, and scheduling will assign a site to you. And with IntelliGuard, they have a phenomenal approach. Based on your level of experience, they will train you. Like, there's mandatory 3-day training, okay, and it's not paid. All right, you got to be serious. You got to go in and you are trained. You sit in a classroom, and the operations folks basically come in and give you classes about everything from scheduling to rules of law in terms of trespassing act, or the law pertaining to citizens arrest and so forth. Very fine points of law where you don't want to essentially transgress the bounds as a security officer and grab somebody and get charged with assault, or falsely arrest somebody, or confine somebody, or end up getting in serious amounts of trouble. So the point of this whole escapade, in terms of me being in Hamilton, is essentially that I'm filling in for someone who is on sick leave for a few days, and then at the same time I get an opportunity to essentially basically train in this amazing location. It's called Jackson Place, and it's in downtown Hamilton, and it's basically a mall. And the thing is, you come in and you look around, and it's like, from the outside it's like just a regular plaza. When you go inside, it's like 7 million square feet or some crazy thing. They got McMaster University in there, they've got the public library in there, they've got a police community center in our security office. Those guys come in basically store their bikes there, but there's a lot of interaction with the cops, and the folks on the site have been here for up to 20 plus years. And so it's amazing, right? So based on your level of experience, they'll put you at different sites, and essentially one of the schedulers told me that what we're trying to do is we're trying to find a site that suits you. God forbid you could be NCR'd from a site, which is that you go to a site and maybe the superintendent or the property manager or somebody doesn't like you, and there's some complaint or some breach of protocol. And the cool thing is you don't get fired. You can be moved if you have a good relationship with the... That's the radio going on in the background. So if you have a good relationship, you can actually be moved to another site. So I just wanted to share this with you. There's nothing much to say here. Security rules. I mean, I'm really, really so excited to be a security guard. I don't mind calling myself a security guard. I prefer security officer. I've got, just like cops, I've got a badge number. So I'm, Officer Hussein's, I'm Officer Zaidi, badge number 12103. We use the same radio codes as the cops and military. 10-4 everyone knows, which is 10-4 is basically okay. 10-7 is I'm on site. 10-6 is I'm taking a break. There's all kinds of codes like emergency or trespasser or sexual activity, or we got a 10-25 or we got a 10-64. Or can you 10-9, which is repeat the last transmission. Or 10-0 is a radio check. 10-1 means it's coming through loud and clear. Or 10-2 means the transmission's not clear. Something like that. I'm still learning the radio codes. And then you got Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, Echo, Foxtrot, Hotel, India, the not the call signs, but obviously the alphabet. I forget what it's called. The call signs are, for instance, our site here is Hotel 95. I was previously at a site called Tango 447-2, because there's a Tango 447-3. And that was an apartment complex at Yonge and Eglinton in downtown Toronto. I was there for a few days. Unfortunately, they had drugs in their stairwell, drug usage, like kids smoking weed. Now, I used to smoke weed, but when I'm on my job as a security professional, I don't let people smoke weed on my site, because that's my job. And so I took it upon myself to go into the stairwells and clean them out, and basically got into trouble with the cleaners of all people. You never know who's going to come around and bite you in the butt. And security, let me leave you with something. If you've watched this far, dear viewers, and I appreciate it, let me leave you with something valuable. Security is all about, more or less, CMA, cover my ass. Cover my ass means that if you're the guy on duty, like right now I'm sitting in this amazing, essentially a command center of sort. I've got literally like 6 computer screens with probably 100 cameras I can access. Like there's various cameras set up as defaults, and you can set up additional cameras. You can even, there's PTZ cameras, point, tilt, and zoom. You can actually move them around. And I remember being at a site at Bay and Adelaide in downtown Toronto, literally Bay Street, like the financial district, just across from the Scotia Bank Tower. There's a site called the Bay Adelaide Centre, and it's 333 Bay Street, and it's the KPMG building, and it's an amazing site. 53 floors. The 52nd floor is all mechanical and technical, and you need steel-toed boots and all this kind of rubbish, right? And it's really cool stuff, man. You learn so much. Like, these buildings and some of these properties are so complex and so amazingly intricate. The way that, the whole thing is, the whole organization of these sites in terms of deliveries and residents and heating and cooling and plumbing. As a security guard, I got keys to basically everything. I can go anywhere I like. And you've got really privileged access, and it's a real position of not authority but responsibility. We're simply a middleman. We can dispatch the cops, we can dispatch the fire department, we can dispatch emergency services, medical services, and so forth, the so-called first responders. But in any case, I'm going to wrap it up right now. Cover my ass means that if I'm the guy sitting at the desk and something happens and it was on camera, I could be asked, why weren't you paying attention? Or if you're meant to be patrolling a certain area and the next day there's a shattered window, you're the guy who's on the line for that. Like, why weren't you doing your job? Now, ostensibly, it's not a terribly hard job. Like, I got a 12-hour shift, and typically in a 12-hour shift or even an 8-hour shift, you might have 2 or 3 hours of work. Seriously, you do your patrols, you do your reports, you do your locking and unlocking, and you help folks out with signing keys in and out or giving people parking passes and whatnot. Doing your parking patrols, you might issue tickets, parking tickets, and all this kind of stuff. You can get trained and licensed, certified to issue actual parking tickets, just write tickets and whatnot. I'm not interested in that myself. I mean, I don't fancy the idea of being chased down the street with a crowbar, as I'm sure you don't either, dear viewer. But in any case, it's not about just getting in people's face and bossing them around or whatnot. In fact, it's about de-escalation. You see a situation, you're meant to de-escalate it. You see a trespasser or homeless or drunk person or obnoxious person on site, you simply want them to leave. You don't want to get in their face and threaten them and harangue them and call the cops and and just cause of fuss. What you're trying to do is minimize the fuss. What you're trying to do is basically maintain the smooth operation of business and daily operational activities. So in any case, over and out for now. I really don't have much to say. Hamilton is a gorgeous city. Gorgeous city. They have a homeless problem, and they have drugs and all these kinds of things, but they're also a very proactive city. They've got lots of activists, and the city recently went out and did a survey of hundreds of homeless people, and they're putting all these initiatives in place to get people housed and fed, and it's amazing. Ontario is amazing that way. I mean, in terms of how they take care of people who are down and out. It could be a person's own fault that they've gotten into drugs and they've made some bad choices and mistakes, and now they've got no recourse. They don't have an education. They're just too disheveled and beat up and messed up physically and mentally. I was reading the Hamilton Spectator, and I read this term called trimorbidity, where people have physical, mental, and health issues, right? Stuff like that, right? And they're really, really in a bad situation. And we get people like that all the time on our site. And the guys here are so great that they actually know some of these people. And they're like, oh, yeah, he's a harmless guy. He wanders through here from time to time. And they just let him be. So over and out for now, folks. It's been 10 minutes. I just came up for a quick smoke. And as is my wont, I wanted to share some information and a little glimpse of beautiful downtown Hamilton with you. So if you are in Ontario and you do drive down to, if you are in visit Toronto and you go down to Niagara Falls, you can loop back, instead of taking the way around the lake, you can kind of go take an inroad, hit Hamilton, and it's definitely worthwhile. So over and out for now. Take care. Send me your comments or don't. Up to you. La ikraha fi din. There's no compulsion in things, let's say. Ta-da.